Hey everyone, Chris here from IELTSadvantage.com, and in this lesson what we're going to look at is the number one way to improve your IELTS reading scores. So many of you need high IELTS reading scores. Many of you might have done the test before and your reading scores are not as high as you'd hoped for. This lesson is really going to help you. Okay, so there are many different ways that you can improve your reading scores. We're going to, in the next slide, look at the most common ones, but none of those actually help your reading scores as much as the method I'm going to share with you today. And the great thing about this method is it's free. You can do it at home by yourself. You do not need a teacher. You can do it anytime, and it is extremely effective, and way more effective than any of these. Okay? So, number one, do lots of practice tests. So lots of you think that in order to get a higher IELTS reading score, just do lots of reading tests. Practice is important to a certain extent, but not nearly as important as you'd think. Doing lots and lots and lots of practice tests is not really going to improve your reading scores significantly. Why is that? Well, the analogy I always use is I have a friend who grew up on a farm, and his dad had a car, and he used to drive the car around and around and around the farm, and he failed his driving test over and over and over again. Even though he had spent hundreds and hundreds of hours behind the wheel of a car, he kept failing his test. Why is that? Because he had really bad habits. No one had ever corrected him or pointed out his bad habits. He had no idea how to actually drive a car safely. Same with doing lots and lots and lots of practice tests. If you don't actually analyze your mistakes, or no one is helping you with that, you might be doing the wrong thing and you've no idea. So the unfortunate thing about students who say things like, I've done every single practice test I can and my scores don't improve, the sad thing about that is their scores don't improve, which is sad. The sadder thing is they've just wasted their time. So don't fall into that trap of thinking that practice tests are going to work. They will help you. They are part of your preparation, but only a very small part. Number two, get help from a teacher. Now, a teacher is going to help you with, telling you about the different skills used, teaching you about the different types of question, maybe give you some strategies for those questions. That is helpful. However, a teacher is not going to be able to give you direct feedback on your performance in the reading test. Why is that? So there's a big difference between writing and reading. So writing and speaking, you're producing language. So words coming out of your mouth or writing on a piece of paper, and that's something that the teacher can give you feedback on. This grammar is wrong, this vocabulary is wrong, improve your structure. There's something to go on for the teacher. For reading and listening, you're receiving language. You're not producing any language. So there's nothing really for the teacher to give you feedback on. The teacher would have to physically go into your brain and see your thought processes to figure out what was actually going on. And right now we don't have the ability to do that. So a teacher can help you to a certain extent, but the technique that I'm about to show you is way more effective than even a teacher sitting beside you. Number three, follow a strategy. So there are many different types of reading question. On my VIP course, what we do is we give each student a different strategy for each different question. And strategies are very helpful, but they are only part of the puzzle. They are only a small part of your preparation. Strategies alone are not going to fix many of the weaknesses that you have. They are good, but they're not going to fix everything. Number four, tips and tricks do not work. All right? You're not going to automatically trick your way or read some tip and automatically become a better reader or improve your vocabulary or anything really. Tips and tricks do not work. They are very attractive because they're easy, but they do not work. Number five, read lots of books. Now, reading is very important. If you want to get better at reading, read. All right? It's important that that is part of your preparation. But reading alone is not going to help you as much as reading consistently and using this next strategy. So this next thing that I'm going to teach you is the most effective way to improve your IELTS reading scores, and it's a 5-step process. Step 1, get some real practice tests. So tests that have been produced by Cambridge, that are real IELTS practice tests, Cambridge English, IDP, British Council. Look on those websites or buy the books, get some real practice tests. Do 2 or 3 tests. I did this lesson on Facebook and students asked what this meant, so I put this in. Do 2 or 3 tests under exam conditions. All right. Do not look at the answers. Do not look at them before you start them. Do them in the time allotted for a normal reading test. Do not cheat in any way. That is really, really important. If you don't do that, you've just sabotaged your preparation and your progress. Step 3, honestly correct them. So be very honest in the same way that your real IELTS test is corrected. If one letter is out of place, that is wrong. If the word is kind of the same, that's wrong. Unless it is exactly how it is in the answer key, it's wrong. So honestly correct it. Don't give yourself extra marks or cheat in any way. Step 4 is the most important part. All right? This is the part that you need to focus on the most. Analyze your mistakes. Okay, so what does that mean? That means looking at every single incorrect answer and thinking about deeply, think very deeply and take a long time. This is not wasted time. This is an investment of time. Think deeply about why you got that answer incorrect. It might be very quick if it's just a spelling mistake, but if it's something to do with strategy or vocabulary or meaning or synonyms or something like that, it will take you a long time to think about it, but it is absolutely essential that you write down the reason, and I would get a book and sit down and write each reason on a piece of paper or multiple pieces of paper, because you want to start to recognize patterns. You want to start to recognize your common weaknesses or your common mistakes, and that is where you're going to end the process, which is work on your weaknesses. So let's now look at some common weaknesses and we can talk about how to improve those. So these are just some common weaknesses. It's very, very rare that students need help with everything. And as I said, you're looking for patterns, all right? You're looking, for example, if 90% of your mistakes are spelling mistakes. That is a very, very important thing that you need to pick up on, because you don't need help with reading skills or vocabulary or strategy or specific questions. You just need to improve your spelling. That might sound unrealistic, but I have had students who were wonderful at reading, great reading skills, great vocabulary, but their spelling was off, and that was the reason why they were failing the reading test. But by getting them to follow that process, they were able to improve their spelling, and they had one student jump from band 5 to band 8 just by improving their spelling. Does that mean that if you improve your spelling, you're going to get a higher score? Maybe, probably not. You probably need help with something else. You are an individual. This is what the whole process is about, figuring out your individual weaknesses. So it could be that you just need help with reading, all right? You are not very good at reading in English yet, so you need to practice more reading. You need to focus on getting better at skimming, scanning, locating information within a text, and deciding meaning, deciding what the correct answer is. Number 2, vocabulary. Many of you are not failing the reading test because of reading skills. You're failing the reading test because of vocabulary. The reading test is a vocabulary test as much as it is a reading test. So vocabulary, synonyms especially, are going to help you locate the answer. So if you have a problem with time management, often the problem is not time management, the problem is vocabulary. You just can't find the words fast enough. Or if you're getting a low score, it might mean that you just don't understand the words or the difference between words. So improving your vocabulary is going to improve your scores, but you need to figure out if that is your particular weakness. Strategy. You might be really good at reading, your vocabulary is great, your spelling is great, but you're just unfamiliar with all of the different types of reading question, and you need a little bit of work on strategy. Or it could be a specific question that you have a problem with. I've had lots of students who are quite good at reading, their vocabulary is good, their strategy is good, their spelling is good, but every time they see a true, false, not given question, or a matching headings question, or a multiple choice question, or a short answer question, they get all of those questions wrong, or nearly all of them wrong. So I had a student the other day, and we went through this process, and they did 3 different tests. They did them under exam conditions, and we wrote down the reasons why they failed, and we established a pattern. The pattern was they get all their true, false, not given questions wrong, and all their matching headings questions wrong. And we spoke about it, and they said, yeah, every time I see those questions, I just panic, I can't do them, I hate them, I'm not good at them. And I said, actually, it's not that you're not good at them, you're just not good at them yet. And we need to focus on these questions. And when we focused on these questions, they went from a band 6 to a band 7.5, because these questions were their weakness. Does this mean these questions are your weakness? Maybe, maybe not. You need to carry out this process, which is free, which you can do. It's very simple, it's very straightforward, and you can then work on your weaknesses and then get the scores you need. And that is the most effective strategy for improving your reading scores. And if you do that, I pretty much guarantee that you will see an improvement. But most of you watching this will not do it. Most of you watching this are just watching YouTube, and you'll go and watch another YouTube video and expect that to help you improve. You're not going to improve by watching YouTube videos. You're going to improve by taking action, all right? This requires you to take a lot of action. That's going to take you about 30 minutes. That's going to take you 3 hours. That's going to take you another hour and a half. That's going to take you 4, 5, 6 hours. That's going to take you weeks and months to do. It's very simple, but it's not easy. But what is the alternative? The alternative is you look for tips and tricks and hacks. You fail the test. Then you look for more tips and tricks and hacks. You fail the test. Then you do that over and over and over again, and you've just wasted months of your life. You've wasted thousands of dollars when all you had to do was just put in a little bit of hard work, and then you'll get the scores you need. Very, very simple, but not easy. I know it's not easy, but what was ever achieved without hard work? All right, so any questions, guys? If you have any questions, I will answer them for you. Hello, Chris, how are you? I'm very well, thank you. Please give me some more useful tips. Oh, no. Tips do not work. Please give me more tips. Second person. I always get stuck between giving headings. How to improve that? Okay, 1 second. What I'll do, so you mean matching headings. So let me, okay, so let me just make sure that I'm not getting caught up here. All right, so in the test for matching headings questions, you're going to get a list of headings. Okay. This is a simplified version to teach this lesson. Okay, so you're going to get a list of headings, and then you're going to get the text. Okay, so the text is going to be different paragraphs. Okay, so paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3. Okay, so when you see a matching headings question, do not look at these first, okay? Do not look at them first. Just ignore the headings completely. What you should do is then read these and do not skim them too quickly, okay? If you skim too quickly, you just wasted your time because you haven't really learned anything. You haven't really looked at the meaning, the general meaning of these. So read these quite carefully, not in too much detail, you don't want to waste your time, but quite carefully. And the key thing is create your own heading. So if you had to create a heading for this paragraph, remember, without looking at these, what would your heading be? That is going to force you to look at it in enough detail and really think about the general meaning. So what you're going to do is create a heading, Okay, so you're going to have headings for these paragraphs. Then, because you have created your own headings, it's going to be very, very simple for you to match these headings with these. If you do that, you'll be amazed at how many of the headings that you created are the same, exactly the same, or nearly the same as the list of headings. And how easy is that going to be to match the headings? If you've already created those headings, it becomes much easier. You still have to think about them, check the headings, especially look for headings that have similar meanings, but if you do that, it becomes much easier. So that was an extra little mini lesson on matching headings. That looks like a mess, but let's move that back. Okay, so a lot of you have decided to speak a different language from English, and I have no idea what any of you are saying, so well done. Is bad handwriting and correction in sentences reduce marks? If your handwriting is so bad that the examiner cannot read it, of course that is going to lower your marks. Not because of bad handwriting, it's because the examiner has no idea what you just put on the paper. So that is an issue. However, most of you think that untidy handwriting is going to lose you marks. No, it's not. You do not need beautiful handwriting. Do I have beautiful handwriting? No. Would I fail the test? Hopefully not. Okay, what time is it? It's 10 past. Okay, so I'll try and find another question. Okay, so there's a whole load of people speaking some language that I don't understand, so that's very difficult to find questions if that's the case. You're free to write whatever you want, guys, but help me to help you. Okay, so since we are talking about reading, let's finish off with a reading question. So Parmveer says, how to manage my time and complete the whole reading on time. Okay, so let's look up Google for this one. So if we Google Usain Bolt, the fastest man in the world. I don't know if he's still the fastest man, but he was anyway. And he's pretty fast. Okay. Let's look at some of these images for Usain Bolt finishing on the 100-meter line. Okay, so we've got Usain Bolt easily winning the race, breaking the world record, and then you have all of these guys behind him finishing second, third, fourth, fifth. Do these guys need time management tips or not? So is their problem the fact that their time management is not very good, or is it something else? Well, hopefully you answered the question. It's something else. The reason why these guys are finishing behind Usain Bolt is not because their time management needs improving. It's because they're not very good at, or not good at running compared to Usain Bolt. I nearly said that they were not good at running. They're the best in the world at running, but they're not as fast as Usain Bolt. This is a very good analogy for time management in the reading test. Most of you think that you need time management tips. You don't. You need to get better at reading. If you improve your reading skills, if you improve your vocabulary, improve your spelling, improve your strategy, practice the test, you don't need time management tips. You just need to get better at reading. Same as these guys. They do not need time management tips. They need to get better at running. They need to run faster. But against Usain Bolt, that's pretty much impossible anyway. Okay, so that's pretty much it, guys. If you need anything else, go to my website, IELTSadvantage.com. If you go to IELTSadvantage.com, you'll get all the free help that you need. If you need us to help you with your IELTS preparation, we do have a range of courses and services. Chris@IELTSadvantage.com. You can email me. We can discuss whether you would be a suitable student for our courses. We only work with a very small number of people. I can't guarantee that I'll be able to work with you, but we can chat about it if you want to chat about it. Thank you very much. If you've enjoyed this video, subscribe so that you can get our next video, which is on Monday. And if you have any suggestions for videos, feel free to comment below and I'll look at those suggestions. Try and be as specific as possible. We'd love to hear your suggestions for future lessons. Thank you very much and see you again soon. Bye-bye.